Who do you think you are?
Toby.
Yeah. Correct.
The Office ran 9 seasons. It became one of the most rewatched shows in television history. The show launched careers, created memes, and made a generation of people genuinely emotional about a fictional regional manager who couldn't read a room. But behind the documentary cameras, there were bad contracts, accidental injuries, and a network kept completely in the dark. There was also a cast member busted with drugs at the airport, and 2 writers whose real-life chaos became the entire engine of the show. These are 15 weird facts about The Office. And wait until you hear how the show's most beloved star actually left, because that part isn't about wanting more time with his family. It's about a network that never picked up the phone.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Number 1. The show almost died after 6 episodes. Season 1 of The Office was a disaster by the numbers. The ratings were so bad that NBC nearly pulled the plug before it had a chance to find its audience. 6 episodes was the entire first season. The network looked at those numbers and came very close to saying that was enough. What saved it wasn't a creative breakthrough or a critical champion. It was iTunes. NBC posted the first season online, and the show took off in a way Nielsen ratings had never accounted for. A completely different audience found it. Younger, different demographic, watching on computers instead of television sets. The NBC president credited that digital release with saving the show. And Steve Carell's movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin came out that same summer and made him a star overnight, which helped considerably. A show that almost didn't survive its own first season went on to become one of the most watched pieces of content in streaming history.
Hi, I'm Michael Scott. I'm in charge of Dunder Mifflin paper products here in Scranton. Keep the camera steady, please.
Number 2. John Krasinski insulted the executive producer to his face before his audition and almost didn't get cast. Krasinski loved the British version of The Office. He was nervous walking into the audition room. A man eating salad in the waiting room asked if he was nervous. Krasinski responded that he loved the British show and that Americans had a tendency to screw these opportunities up.
No, you said that I'd be conducting the interview when I walked in here. Now, exactly how much pot did you smoke?
He said he didn't know how he'd live with himself if they ruined it. Then he walked into the room. The man with the salad was the executive producer. Everyone in the casting room had already heard what he said. One person called him a jackass. Krasinski killed the audition anyway and got the role. The actor who almost talked himself out of the defining role of his career did so by criticizing the very people who were about to hire him. And they gave him the job anyway.
Okay.
Number 3. Rainn Wilson accidentally injured almost the entire cast. He admitted it himself in his own memoir. His exact words were that he had literally wounded pretty much everyone in the cast. The list was specific. He hit John Krasinski in the eye with an icy snowball and various other objects from Dwight's desk.
Don't. Stop. Dwight. Dwight, stop. Dwight, stop. No.
He accidentally punched Phyllis Smith and Brian Baumgartner more than once each. He gave Angela Kinsey what he described as debilitating bruises by throwing her onto desks and car hoods and by spanking her far too hard during Dwight's romantic scenes. And then there was Leslie David Baker, who plays Stanley. During the Season 3 Beach Games episode, Wilson accidentally kicked sand directly into Baker's eye. Baker had to be rushed to the hospital and treated for a scratched cornea. Wilson closed his account of all this with an apology to the entire cast and the observation that it was a wonder he was never sued.
No!
Number 4. NBC used The Office's own episode to teach its cast and crew how not to behave at work. Every year, NBC required the cast and crew to attend a mandatory sexual harassment seminar. That's the show's real workplace, not Dunder Mifflin. By season 4 or 5, whoever put together the training video decided to illustrate inappropriate workplace behavior using clips from The Office's Diversity Day episode. That episode follows a diversity consultant running a workplace sensitivity exercise that goes spectacularly, offensively wrong.
Give me the ball right now. Give it to me.
Ryan.
They were watching a fictional depiction of their own show's content to understand what not to do. It was a mockumentary about a dysfunctional office being used as a warning film for the actual office where the mockumentary was made.
What is going on? What are you doing?
Number 5. Kelly and Ryan's on-screen chaos was directly lifted from real life. Mindy Kaling and BJ Novak dated on and off throughout the show's run. It was messy and complicated, and it was happening in the same writer's room where they were both employed as writers and producers.
Kelly's not named after a hip-hop artist from 2011. It's Drake, like a mix of Drew and Blake.
Novak later told Vulture that their characters' relationship was an observation from the writer's room that he and Kaling were extremely close and constantly fighting. The volatile push-pull dynamic of Kelly and Ryan wasn't invented. That dynamic was transcribed from the parking lot and brought upstairs to the page.
He'll be fine. I let him suck on a strawberry. He's allergic, but he'll get over it fast. I had to talk to you.
You gave your baby an allergic reaction just to talk to me?
Two of the most important creative forces behind the show were living out the subplot they were simultaneously writing. Kaling confirmed she used to prank Novak on set by making up lies about their co-stars just to watch him react. Number 6. Jim and Pam almost didn't end up together. There were serious conversations in the writer's room about not giving the audience what it wanted. Jenna Fischer later revealed that the writing staff discussed having Roy win Pam back, not just as a temporary setback, but as the actual ending. There was genuine consideration of a version of the show where Jim and Pam's relationship pushed them both toward their real true loves instead of each other. The couple that became one of television's defining romances almost became a story about two people who were good for each other, but not meant to be.
I miss having fun with you. Just you, not everyone in the circle.
Every time those two end up together on a rewatch, there's a version of the show where that never happens. Number 7. The most expensive shot in the entire 9-season run was Jim's proposal. It cost $250,000. We're talking less than a minute of screen time, one scene at a gas station in the rain. Jenna Fischer said the crew built the entire gas station in the parking lot of a Best Buy. Construction took 9 days. The rain machines were enormous. The special effects were high-tech. The planning took a month of meetings, and the budget doubled somewhere along the way. $250,000 for a scene that lasted under 60 seconds, for a show set in a paper company about regular people at work. The most expensive moment in the history of The Office was a man asking a woman to marry him in the rain outside a fake gas station built in a shopping center parking lot. And it worked perfectly. Number 8. Steve Carell refused to cross the picket line during the writer's strike. His official excuse was that he had enlarged balls. During the 2007 writer's strike, Carell would not come to set. He was making a statement in solidarity with the writers, but he couldn't just say that on record and make it political. So he called in sick. His claimed medical condition, filed officially enough that it made the news, was enlarged balls. That was the reason Steve Carell gave NBC for being unable to report to work during a labor dispute. He was the star of the show and the highest paid person on set. He called in sick with a condition he invented to avoid crossing a picket line he refused to cross, while maintaining total plausible deniability. The writers he was protecting appreciated it.
I knocked myself in the head with the phone.
Number 9. Craig Robinson was arrested for drug possession in the Bahamas. Daryl Philbin was the warehouse manager turned corporate employee, the coolest person in the entire Dunder Mifflin building, calm and unflappable through 9 seasons.
Why? Because I'm from the hood?
Dink and flicker.
Dink and flicker.
The actor who played him, Craig Robinson, was reportedly busted after a comedy show at the Atlantis Hotel in the Bahamas in 2013, the same year The Office ended. According to reports, Robinson attempted to board a plane carrying ½ a gram of marijuana and 18 ecstasy pills. He pleaded guilty on 2 counts of drug possession. His defense was that he didn't know the drugs were illegal in the Bahamas. The show had just finished airing. The cast was celebrating the end of 9 years together. Daryl from The Office was in the Bahamas with 18 ecstasy pills. Number 10. NBC accidentally let Steve Carell walk away. The story the public heard was simple. Carell wanted to spend more time with his family. He was ready to move on. Season 7 was the right time to go. That was the official version. The real version is more painful. Carell was willing to come back. He had told the network he was considering signing for more seasons. He gave an interview in which he mentioned season 7 might be his last. And then, nothing happened. NBC didn't call, didn't reach out, and didn't make an offer. Crew members later said he didn't get any kind of response from them. When he realized they hadn't reacted, he thought maybe they didn't really care if he left. A leadership change at NBC meant his contract situation fell through the cracks. The deadline came and went, and Steve Carell, the man whose stardom had literally saved the show from cancellation in season 1, left because the network forgot to ask him to stay. Number 11. The entire cast and crew lied to everyone, including David Letterman, to hide Steve Carell's return for the finale. 2 years after Carell left, showrunner Greg Daniels asked him to come back for one scene in the series finale. Carell was reluctant. He felt Michael's story was already complete and didn't want to overshadow everyone else's goodbye. Daniels convinced him, and then the lying began. Carell lied to the press for months. The cast lied. The crew lied. NBC was kept completely in the dark. At the table read for the finale script, Carell's lines were given to Creed Bratton to read out loud. His scenes were kept out of the daily footage sent to the network. John Krasinski lied to David Letterman directly, on camera, on national television. Only 3 cast members were told in advance: Krasinski, Jenna Fischer, and Rainn Wilson. Greg Daniels told them a couple of days before filming. The rest of the cast found out when Carell walked onto set. The most tightly kept secret in the show's history was protected by an entire production deceiving a broadcast network about their own finale. Number 12. Rainn Wilson originally auditioned for Michael Scott. Before he became Dwight Schrute, Wilson walked into that same audition room aiming for the lead role. He watched every episode of the British version before he came in, and then he delivered what he later described as a terrible Ricky Gervais impersonation. The casting directors didn't want him as Michael, but they liked something else they saw. They asked him to read for Dwight instead. Wilson got the role that actually fit him and created one of the most iconic supporting characters in sitcom history. The man playing the second most important person in Dunder Mifflin was originally gunning for the top job and got redirected at the last moment. Number 13. Phyllis Smith was a casting associate for the show before she became Phyllis Vance. She wasn't an actress auditioning for a role, she was working on the other side of the table, helping other actors prepare for their auditions, and reading lines with them during casting sessions. The producers watched her do that job and decided they wanted her on screen instead. They created the role of Phyllis Vance specifically for her. One of the show's most beloved recurring cast members wasn't discovered through a traditional casting process. She was already in the building. Before The Office made her a familiar face to millions of people, Phyllis Smith had been a burlesque dancer. She told the Daily Beast she used to wear a G-string and feathers. The path from burlesque to casting associate to beloved television character is not a trajectory anyone could have predicted. Number 14. Jim and Pam were nearly written as 2 completely different people. Before Greg Daniels landed the show at NBC, he considered reimagining the central romance by casting an African-American actress to play both Pam and Roy as a couple. He also originally wanted to sell the show to FX or HBO because he didn't think it was a fit for NBC. He only went to NBC because people he trusted told him it would sell. The show that became synonymous with NBC almost went to cable. The characters at its core almost looked completely different. The version that exists only got there because of detours nobody planned. Number 15. The show ended not with a grand finale decision, but with exhaustion. The real story of The Office's final years is a story of people running out of road. Steve Carell left because a network didn't make a call in time. Mindy Kaling left to make her own show. BJ Novak left because he was burnt out. When Carell and Kaling were gone, the producers offered Novak the showrunner job. He said he couldn't imagine it. "I didn't have the love," he told a podcast years later. The writers who had created Kelly and Ryan walked out within a season of each other and took what remained of the original energy with them. The last 2 seasons are widely considered the weakest. They are the weakest because the show was being run by people who had already emotionally left and were filling time until the cameras could finally stop. The series that made people feel like Dunder Mifflin was real ended the way most real offices end. Not with a party, but with people quietly cleaning out their desks. And that's the thing about The Office. It's not just a great comedy. The whole thing is a miracle it stayed funny long enough to become one. Carell nearly left without anyone noticing. The network was lied to about its own finale, and the two people who powered the whole writer's room were dating each other the entire time. The show's chaos isn't just on screen. That chaos is baked into how it was made. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe, and tell me what show we should pull apart next.